You're either willing to rebuild this empire with me or get the hell out of here.
So you're kicking me out?
You bet. You have threatened several times to leave me for Jack Abbott. Now's your chance. Go lick his wounds with him.
That you caused.
Oh, come on. You care more about the welfare of that excuse of a man than for your own husbands. How do you think I'm going to react?
Welcome my dear listeners, stay with me to get the spoilers first and subscribe to the channel. Let's find out what's going to happen on the Young and the Restless. Why shoot me? The Nikki Victor USB rumor versus the real YNR story. The online version of the Young and the Restless story sounds crazy. Nikki supposedly finds proof of Victor's crimes on the USB drive and then shoots him after talking to him. The problem is that the current spoiler trail doesn't back that up. The verified coverage shows a much bigger and messier power struggle. Victor and Nikki's attempt to make up goes wrong. Diane shouts down Nikki's truth. Victor and Diane may team up against Jack. Adam makes a risky bid in Vegas and Matt Clark is back to terrorizing Nick. There is already a lot of soap drama going on, so there is no need to make up a shooting that the current spoilers don't back up. So fans believe the rumor because Victor and Nikki are already in a very volatile situation. According to Soap Hub's preview for April 13 to 17, Jack and Nikki's attempt to get back together takes a volatile turn. The same report also says that by the end of the week, Jack and Nikki will be leaning on each other, and Victor and Diane may join forces against Jack. That is to say, everyone is already breaking rules, changing sides, and making choices that could blow up the next day. There isn't a confirmed USB blackmail plot behind a headline like "Why shoot me?" Instead, there is a town full of people who are on bad decision away from chaos. Jack is in the one who is making the Victor-Nikki tension more specific. Soap Hub's April 14 spoiler page says that Nikki agrees that Victor did a naughty thing when he had Jack kidnapped. This led to Patty dragging and seducing Jack. Nikki says she will handle Victor by herself. That is a big hint about the real emotional wound in this week's story. Nikki is not secretly becoming Victor's killer over a USB stick. She is still very angry that Victor went too far with Jack, and she is trying to figure out how much of that she can let go. The current recaps makes that anger even more clear. Victor gets in trouble with Nikki for the never-ending war on Jack on the April 13 YNR recap. Phyllis, Adam, and the rest of the town also get into trouble. The April 14 recap shows Diane slamming the door on Nikki, throwing Nikki's addiction problems back in her face and refusing to make up. That doesn't look like a story that will lead to a shooting between Nikki and Victor right away. It's the shape of a story where people use old grudges as weapons in every conversation. In the meantime, the most dangerous plot in the current batch of spoiler is happening in Las Vegas, not at the Newman Ranch. The recap for April 13 says that Nick disappears. Adam freaks out and Matt Clark has Nick as a prisoner. The summary also says that Matt makes fun of Nick, calls him a junkie, and threatens to give him pills until he doesn't even know his own name. That is a much more real threat than any rumored USB drive. If a character is going to be shot or killed in the story, the pages point to Matt's captivity game and Nick's danger, not a random fight between Nikki and Victor. The plot in Vegas also explains why Chelsea is so upset. In the April 10 recap, Chelsea goes to Vegas because she has a bad feeling about something. Adam and Riza are already in the middle of the mess, and Nick is listening in nearby. In the April 13 to 17 spoiler set, Chelsea surprises Adam and Riza in Vegas. Matt fights back against Nick, and Adam finally makes Matt do what he wants. The show is really building a domino chain with Chelsea's instincts, Adam's lies, Matt's violence, and Nick's weakness. This crisis is very soap-like and messy, but it is not a USB evidence story. The rumor mill is also going strong because of how Adam acts. In the April 13 recap, Adam and Riza go into the hotel room and Adam has to admit that Matt Clark is the same man who scared Nick and Sharon for years. Riza quickly figures out that Adam has been lying on her and slaps him, saying that he only got back in touch with her so he could go after Matt. That's the kind of trickery that makes people think there are even bigger secrets hiding. But the real secret is Adam's, not Nikki with a hidden USB drive, but he is the liar in this story. The Victor and Diane angle makes the story even more complicated. The April 13 to 17 spoiler set from Vienna recap says that Victor and Diane are plotting against Jack. The spoiler for Friday says that Victor helps Diane give Jack a test of his own medicine. Soap Opera News says the same thing. Victor and Nikki's attempt to make up goes wrong. Diane refuses Nikki's peace offer and Victor helps Diane punish Jack. It makes a lot more sense that Nikki finds out about Victor's crimes on a USB and then shoots him right away. The show is clearly heading toward a web of alliances, grudges, and revenge. That's why Nikki's part is so interesting right now. She is not being written as a secret assassin. She is being written as a woman who has had enough of Victor's ways. According to Soap Hub's spoiler, Nikki will deal with Victor on her own, which sounds more like emotional and strategic fallout than a gun in a living room. Then, according to the April 14 recap, Diane slams Nikki's face into the door and throws Nikki's history of addiction back in her face. Nikki's weeks are full of shame, anger, and trying to figure out if she can still stand by Victor. The fake shooting version of the story also leaves out the bigger cast movement that is happening right now. Roger Howard is back as Matt Clark, and Soap Opera News says that his return is a big part of the April 13 to 17 run. Spoilers say that Sharon leaves to help Nick, Lauren and Michael start a new chapter, and Jack leans on Nikki at the same time. Those beats are important because they show that the fallout from the show is affecting many families and relationships. Nikki finds Victor's secret files and shoots him is not the dramatic center. Everybody's loyalties are changing as Matt Clark turns Nick upside down. The story is even clearer if you zoom out. The attempt by Victor and Nikki to make up is unstable, not stable. Diane does not accept Nikki's offer of peace. Victor and Diane might join forces against Jack instead of each other. Adam is making a risky bet in Las Vegas, and Matt Clark is getting back at Nick. Pressure and retaliation are what the whole canvas is based on. Fans can easily imagine the worst during that week, but the verified spoiler material still points to a fight over grudges, not a confirmed murder scene over a USB stick. Rumors like this spread so quickly because they sound like classic Genoa City story. A woman pushed too far, hidden evidence, and a ruthless Victor secret. But the story as it is now has enough built-in danger to keep people interested without that extra twist. Matt is in charge of Nick, Riza is being lied to by Adam, Chelsea is rushing in because she feels bad, Nikki and Victor are at it again. Diane won't accept peace. More than one person is going after Jack. That's a whole soap opera all by itself. So the best way to read this is, why shoot me? The USB drive version is an exaggerated rumor, not a confirmed Vienna spoiler. The real show is about Victor and Nikki's rocky reunion, Victor's ongoing war with Jack, Diane's refusal to forgive Nikki, and Matt Clark's threat to Nick in Vegas. It's more likely that someone caught in Matt's trap or someone who thinks Victor has gone too far will get blindsided than a character suddenly pulling a trigger over a USB stick. And this is where the story stops being about rumors and starts becoming something far more dangerous because the real tension is already boiling over without a single shot being fired. Because when Nikki Newman reaches her breaking point, she doesn't need a weapon. Her choices alone can change everything. And let's be honest, the real threat here has never been some hidden USB. It's the man at the center of it all, Victor Newman, and the damage his decisions keep leaving behind. In my opinion, the storyline is far more powerful without the shooting, because it forces us to watch something slower, something more emotional, a relationship cracking under years of control, secrets, and unfinished battles. Because what happens when Nikki finally decides she has had enough, not just for a moment, but for real this time? Does she walk away, or does she fight back in a way Victor never sees coming? And here's the twist that really lingers. What if the real betrayal doesn't come from Victor at all, but from the unexpected alliance forming around him? Because if Diane Jenkins and Victor truly join forces, then this isn't just personal anymore, it's strategic, and that changes the entire game overnight. Meanwhile, the danger in Vegas keeps getting darker, and if Nick Newman doesn't escape in time, this story could shift from emotional fallout to something far more tragic. Looking ahead, I honestly think the real explosion won't be a gunshot. It will be a betrayal that hits harder than anything physical ever could. The kind that breaks trust beyond repair. So now I have to ask you, if Nikki discovers the full truth about Victor's actions, would you want her to forgive him or finally choose herself for once? And do you think Victor is still in control of this story? Or is everything already slipping through his fingers? Because something tells me the next move won't be loud, but it will be devastating.